So, you might have seen people beat Pokemon without experience, and are now asking me, what makes this challenge so difficult? Well, let me tell you. Pokemon games are believed to be getting easier and easier. Sword and Shield are no exceptions. What if I told you that I took the reasons this game was so easy and turned it against myself? That's right. Experience is incredibly easy to come by, and is impossible to avoid. So what if it was bad? In Sword and Shield, every time you defeat a Pokemon, your entire team gets experience. You get experience for catching Pokemon. Rare candies and EXP candies are around every corner. So what if I made them the enemy? Well, you're about to find out all about it. If it's possible to beat Pokemon Sword and Shield if your Pokemon are unusable after leveling up. I am disconnected from the internet right now, just to add a little spice to the challenge, cause, wonder trading, that would make it too easy. I don't think that we'll use the DLC. So, the first obstacle. A few of you might know this, but the rival of this game has 2 starters, giving more than enough experience for you to level up. Now, does that mean the challenge is over? Not at all, because of one small detail in the start of the game. You don't actually have to beat him. That's right, for the first few rival battles, you can just lose them, but it doesn't apply to the rest of the game. Does that mean it was quickly done? No, it wasn't actually that easy either. The AI in this game actually tries to keep you from losing at the start by stalling with other moves. Do you see the problem here? I had to wait for forever until Wooloo ran out of growls. The next few minutes were actually pretty easy from there, because it was just wild encounters I could run away from, and a scripted battle I couldn't lose. Instead, the next challenge was getting to the second battle with Hop. There's trainers on the way, and if I battled them, I would have leveled up, leaving me with no Pokemon, having to forfeit the challenge. Luckily, instead, you start off this game with a lot of Pokeballs and a lot of money. I was able to catch a new Pokemon, leveling up my Sobble, meaning they immediately got boxed. This created its own challenge, as I now had to work with a clean slate. To not make this an endless cycle, I had to catch a Pokemon that was a higher level than mine, so it wouldn't level up immediately when I caught another. The highest level of Pokemon in this area was 7, so I sat there for hours trying to catch as many strong Pokemon as I could, mainly Rookidee. Rookidee were the Pokemon that had the slowest EXP gain in the area, making them perfect for the job. I took them and beat the trainers, and made my way to Hop. All to lose to him again, on purpose. After that, I finally moved on to the real challenge, the League. Things weren't all just harder from here on out, we actually had a lot of doors open for us. The wild area is the most important part of this challenge because of 2 key factors. Firstly, raids had no EXP involved with them. Secondly, I could get incredibly high catch rates of much higher level Pokemon if I beat them in the raid. This was of course my main method of obtaining Pokemon, but not the only one. More on that later. So the first thing was getting new Pokemon, and one of my first was really good, a high-level Riolu. Not only was it good for progressing in the story, but it meant I could catch more Pokemon from the dens more easily. I named it Punt, by the way. I gave them all silly names. I also got an extremely useful Applin too, which leveled very slowly, so that meant I could fight with it. For the first 2 battles in Motostoke, with Team Yell Grunts, it was easy enough to deal with. All I needed was a Pidove, my Riolu, and an Oddish, all caught from raid dens. After that was a harder fight, the next one against Hop. Like I said before, we can't just lose against him to get past. I opted to take a small team against him with a Hoot Hoot, Oddish, and a level 5 Rookidee. I wanted to take a small team so I didn't give more Pokemon EXP through the team share, and I brought my level 5 because I wouldn't feel bad about them taking a majority of a Pokemon's EXP yield. From there, I unlocked an area that let me start to really strategize. In the route after Hop's battle, there was a particular Pokemon, Stunky. Stunkies have two very special things that helped me a lot: Poison Gas and Aftermath. With Poison Gas, I could poison a Pokemon and try to set it up that if I fainted, the opposing Pokemon would faint at the same time, meaning Stunky gained no EXP. That was, however, not reliable. The Aftermath was much more so, because if a Pokemon causes it to faint with a contact move, it loses a portion of its health. This doesn't help if a Pokemon doesn't use contact moves, but it made Stunky a big player in this challenge. So, now I had a strategic Pokemon for the challenge. What next? Well, in the mines, there's actually quite a few trainers that I inevitably lost some Pokemon to. Remember, Stunky won't gain experience, but other Pokemon in my party will, and one Stunky alone doesn't cut it. The hard part was the battle against Bede. I brought in some of my best Pokemon against them, including my Applin. What made this fight so hard, you might ask? Bede's Psychic types. You see, Stunky is a Dark type, and I didn't know about the Psychic types. None of their attacks can lower Stunky's HP because Stunky's immune. I had to weigh out these attacks with a simple but effective strategy. Before coming into the cave, I had put Protect and Scary Face on Stunky. I stalled for Struggle the whole time, just using those moves so I could get it to struggle to make us both faint at the same time. However, I ran out of moves before they did, and I didn't realize this until later in the challenge, but items that don't work at a given moment will take up your turn without being used. This means that I ended up defeating the first Pokemon of Bede's team, putting some experience on Stunky. It's okay, because I can always catch more. Applin promptly handled the rest with ease, and we went on. Now we arrived in the next city, and have to fight Milo. The plan was easy: get flying types and more Stunkies. I needed a lot of flying types, some high-leveled ones at that. Like in many games, the gym has trainers, which had to be beaten to go on, so I did just that. The Stunky and my higher-leveled Pokemon kept the EXP to a minimum, of course avoiding most trainers. We go to Milo, and his Gossifleur managed to take out Stunky before they could even feint it. But it was no problem, because the rest of the team could manage. I made the mistake of trying to revive Stunky, however, and the Gossifleur fainted, leveling up Stunky. While we were down by one, I still had a Pidove, which dealt a lot of damage to Milo's Eldegoss. Eventually Pidove fainted, but Corvisquire, my strongest flying type, quickly took it out. As per routine, we took our walk around the wild area, coming across some good Pokemon such as Natu, high-leveled Oddish, and many others. Of course I caught more Stunkies too. One thing I realized was actually a big problem in the challenge was double battles, after running into one. Our strategy with Stunky is less effective with double battles, and not to mention both front Pokemon get a lot of experience. It goes without saying, they're an obstacle. After that double battle though, I found one of the best Pokemon I could have wished for, Wobbuffet. The reason Wobbuffet is so good is because of the fact it learns Destiny Bond at level 1, a very important move for us. While they're hard to catch, since it learns a move that kills at level 1, we could use the Ranch to get more. I ended up doing this with Stunky as well, because Aftermath is dependent on the opposing Pokemon's health, rather than any of your own stats. The next big battle was with some Team Yell Grunts, which I actually needed to bring Applin back in for. The tricky part was it being 2 consecutive battles, meaning I couldn't switch Pokemon to avoid level ups. Applin helped in that regard by acting as an EXP sponge. Right after that, we had another trainer battle against Hop. There wasn't much issue there, he just had higher level Pokemon. After that, finally, I made it to Wholeberry. I employed the same strategy at the Water-type gym as before, where I battled the trainers I needed to, and leaving to swap out my team. Luck was on my side for this part of the gym, in the form of raids. I collected a lot of high-leveled Oddish from raid dens, which helped me a lot. Nessa was still a challenge, however. Her Pokemon were no joke, and I went through a lot of healing items to survive. Dreadnought was also a problem, so I had to do my best to stall out its Dynamax form. The scary part about it though was the rain, because that doubled the damage of its water type attacks. I got down to only Oddish, and felt backed into a corner. However, I one-shot the Dreadnought. Yeah, it was anticlimactic, but I forgot an important detail about Dreadnought being 4 times weak to grass. So like that, I got my second badge. After that, I bought a Lax Incense to use for my level 1 Wobbuffet's Hatstrom eggs. Later I found a Dreepy, a very useful pseudo-legendary, and a powerhouse, being Boldore. Eventually I made my way into the second mine, where things really got hard. You see, the problem wasn't just that it was full of tough opponents, but also that it was a double battle, with Hop as my teammate. My first thought was to have Hop beat the enemies for me, but in reality, that's bad. He did beat them, but that meant I got the experience that I couldn't deal with, and it broke the rule of this challenge. You see, my Pokemon were so slow that they went last, after having leveled up, meaning I used a move and needed to reset back to my save. In order to get past them, I looked into new ideas, and caught Pokemon that were in the nearby area. These Pokemon were higher leveled, and 2 in particular, Shuckle and Arrokuda, had slower EXP gains. The reason I tried not to do this is because of the fact I need to gain EXP if I want to catch them. With the power of those 2, Wobbuffet's lucky Destiny Bond, and even my Dreepy, this battle was a breeze. Next was Kabu, who was going to be interesting, I thought. The first challenge was Marnie. It took me a few tries, but I beat her with a good enough team. Kabu's gym challenge was actually kinda scary, but also easy. You see, I stocked up on Quick Balls because if I catch a Pokemon, I don't want to have a risk of it fainting and gaining the EXP. But Catch EXP is the exact reason this gym was scary, because it involved you catching a certain number of Pokemon. Kabu himself was extremely easy, however. I kinda just went and caught more Arrokuda for their typing and EXP gain, plus I had my Boldore, along with other rock types. As soon as I Dynamaxed my Boldore, the battle was decided. Next was the route to Stoneside. It was rough, with there being a lot of trainers who were tough to beat. What was even harder than that though, was Hop. Even though he seemed discouraged, he was harder to beat than ever. I took a party of 5 to fight him at first, and even had info on what his team was like. My Pokemon were, however, just too weak, and leveled up too fast during the battle. I searched for a while to get the best Pokemon for the job after that. I brought a Stunky, Toxel, Golett, and my highest leveled Pokemon, Barboach. I tried to take out Hop's Cramorant with Stunky, however, Stunky fainted, but did weaken it enough for Toxel to get the kill. Toxel leveled up though, which made things look bad, so Barboach had to take charge. I beat Sanacabra easily, but when I switched to Golett to fight Raboot, Golett went down quick. But from sheer luck, Barboach got a critical hit and beat Raboot. After all that, I was able to take on Alistair's gym. But this video's gone on for a while, so I'll save it for next time. This challenge takes a lot of patience and is extremely hard. So, why not subscribe? That way you can see when I beat it. You can also find me on Twitch where I stream this challenge, so use the link in the description to check it out. With that all said, see you next time.